Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly. This is Grizzly True Crime, and today we're going to be discussing two things, okay? Sorry about that YouTube glitch if you're watching live with me. I didn't mean to be late. I thought I was live with you. Okay. Firstly, welcome to all my moderators, patrons, members, subscribers, anyone new in chat. There's lots of new people here. Welcome. Secondly, we're going to do two things today. One, I've got a presentation that I put together for you where I've made some bullet points breaking down the interview that Stephan Sterns' parents recently did with a channel called Hidden True Crime, okay? I've put the full episode, I've linked it in the description box if you want to watch the full episode, if you haven't seen it, but I'm thinking that you've all seen it because pretty much every single one of you has emailed it to me, and Google is now telling me, lady, your inbox is too full. You have to delete some things. So thank you so much for emailing me. I did see it as well. I've watched it a few times now, and we're going to break it down, okay? I know everybody wants to hear my take on this, so we're going to do that. Please don't badmouth any channels, any content creators. We really, literally don't do that here. Even if someone freaking bullies me for 2 years straight, we don't talk about them, okay? I'm not talking about Hidden True Crime. I'm talking about somebody else. I'm just saying, we do not ever, okay? I think the interview was done very well. I'm going to be breaking it down. I've linked it for you. Go check it out, right? Then, what else do I want to say? So we're going to do presentation time. Then we're going to listen to a March 1st, 2024 audio interview that was done in a vehicle. So there's a lot of background noise. I've tried to boost it for you and reduce that sound, but I'm not a sound engineer. But I have done my best to clean it up a little bit. And so we're going to listen to an audio interview of Jennifer Soto, okay? Now, we haven't listened to this together before. However, the information has been out there for quite some time, right? Like obviously on YouTube, a week is like years, okay? So it's been out there for years. We haven't listened to it together before, so we're going to listen to that together today. After that, I'm pretty much done covering interviews because I don't want to put innocent people on blast like, you know, Maddie's bio dad, the roommates, the friends, because at the time that they were interviewed, they really just wanted to help find Maddie. You know, and I just put myself in their shoes and I'm like, man, it must feel hectic to be like on blast on YouTube. And I'm not throwing shade at anybody who plays the interviews. I'm just saying for me personally, that's my own personal boundary. I want to do what brings out the truth, what's justice for Maddie. For me, everything is about justice for Maddie. And I will start this episode by saying, yeah, she's the victim in this case, right? Man, what she went through for years and then lost her life at age 13 is absolutely devastating. Lastly, let me say thank you to everyone who's left such kind comments on Core TV. They've released one of the episodes and another one they've released on the Core TV website. So I don't see comments there, of course, but on YouTube. Thank you so much. I went there to check it out and you guys are already all over it and you guys are so sweet. All right, so let me bring out the presentation. Here we go. All right. So, Evelyn, thank you. You said, you are the best. Love your commentary and coverage on this case. If I missed anyone else's stickers or memberships, welcome. Thank you so much. I thought I was live. I wasn't yet. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Evelyn. I really appreciate that. Christine said, I love that you have boundaries. Oh, thank you so much. It's actually something I struggled with for decades. Okay. And then now it's my absolute strength. It's my superpower. It's boundaries and boundary setting. So I hope that you guys here at Grizzly True Crime, when we study these cases, and you know, I like to set boundaries and things and say what I'm comfortable with and not. And some people email and they say it helps them a lot too. So I'm very glad. And I hope that you feel that you can also set boundaries and know what's okay for you and not okay. If something's not okay for you, that's okay. We don't have to convince each other, scold each other. I've got lots of scolding emails since this interview came out, but like, there's no reason to scold someone. I'm here for justice for Madeline Soto. She's the victim in this case. And I've always, across the board, snarked if I believe that a perpetrator has been somewhat overcoddled. You know what I mean? I just see that that could result sometimes in like, oh no, like could have bad results. I'm not saying it always does. It hardly ever does. True crime is a small sliver of humanity we look at, and it's unfortunately the worst, right? Like when we look at these perpetrators. But obviously, if you know me at all, you know I'm like, I get snarky about that. Like, oh my word, don't buy him candy when he's sitting in jail. But obviously, a mother usually, okay, not mine, but a usual mother, a mother with maternal instincts, also not Jen Soto. Okay, they normally would have unconditional love for their children, right? I understand that. I fully understand that. Okay, so now let's get started. We're going to dive into this presentation time. Follow the timestamps in the pinned comments description box or hover over the video if you don't want to see this and you just want to skip to the audio. Okay, are we ready? Welcome everyone. Let's go. Now, Stephan Sterns' parents' interview. Now, I'm going to refer to them as DS and CS. Obviously, we know their names are public, okay? But obviously, so Deborah Sterns, Chris Sterns, SS is Stephan Sterns, JS means Jennifer Soto, MS means Madeline Soto, all right? Okay. Now, this interview was released on September 22nd of 2024, which for most of us would be today, right? Unless you're in Australia or something. So that would be today-ish, right? It was recently released. And so I watched it a number of times. As I say, a lot of you have also watched it because you've been sending it to me. So now we're going to break down the bullet points that I took from it, and also we'll discuss it a bit. Now, the parents said that they thought the interviews were private conversations with the police. But I mean, of course they would think that. Of course, they were trying to help. They were complying with the police and trying to help with information that might help find Madeline Soto. And so obviously they'd get a big fright if it's like, damn, this stuff is now being acquired by all these freaking YouTubers. Yeah, welcome to the internet, true crime on the internet. Yeah, I know it must really be very hectic to be in their shoes and to be put on blast and every word scrutinized and be like, what did they know? What did they see? But it's because of the horrendous nature of what Stephan Sterns did. So obviously everyone will want to understand. You want to understand the background, the history, where did he come from, why did he do this, all of that. But it's not to attack the parents. And never once have I, and never will I. And I'm telling you now, don't harass the parents. Don't email them, don't text them, don't call them, don't harass them. Any jail call logs I've gotten and things like that, I always redact their numbers. If you ever get documents like that, please redact their numbers, okay? Don't put that out there. So one would think that that's like common sense, but sometimes we've got to spell it out, right? Welcome. So they said, and obviously this is public information now, right? So they said, but they thought it was like private conversations with the police. DS said, is it a crime to give birth to someone? Why are we blamed? I don't think people are blaming anyone for giving birth to someone, for having a son like that. I don't think they're being blamed either for what he did. I think the snark, I'll speak for myself, that originates is just that pattern we see in true crime sometimes. And of course, as I say, it's a small portion of humanity, true crime, thankfully. But like, oh no, like don't over nurture and over coddle like this guy who's like this man child, but he did the worst to a child. That is just like so sad. Like, for me, Maddie, I'm Team Maddie. Remember? I told you, I'm always Team Madeline Soto. And sometimes this snark that comes out, right? Because I'm Team Maddie. So when I hear that Stephan Sterns is all comfortable in his jail cell eating root beer candy and pickles and worried about getting more money, then I'm like, man, like I just get angry because Maddie will never have candy again. She will never have a pickle. She'll never have coffee. She's never going to have comfort or anything. Her life was taken and allegedly by that man child. Kennedy says, I was running errands, going to the gaming store, laughing so hard at your comments on he who shall not be named. I can't lie, when you said trigger warning, I peed a little. Did you pee? Oh, okay. Oh, thank you so much. Wanderlusting said, thank you for the amazing coverage. Thank you so much. So CS says that he has accepted, so Stephan's dad says he's accepted that his son is the lone perpetrator. Stephan told them that others are involved, right? And they talk more about that again later. We'll see a quote from them later. Obviously, Stephan Sterns will say, oh, there's others involved. You know what I mean? Like, they might be, but obviously he'll say it. I think we've seen that many times with many perpetrators. They do not believe the murder was premeditated. So they think it would be, they later also say him getting like, did he get angry? Was there like a fight? Like what happened? They don't think it was premeditated. I still find the timeline interesting of him freaking out on Saturday. And they mention it again in this interview where he was like so anxious and he was, looking for anxiety meds and all that. So what was going on there? I don't know, right? I worry about that. That's still a red flag to me. They say they learn the info as we learn the info. Yeah, FOIA requests, info. We've seen this many times in many cases where, you make a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act, and the families are like, what? Like all this information is out there? Yeah. So, I mean, it's great for the transparency, but it must give families a heck of a fright. So I understand that. Inc. said, always team victim. Yes. So they said this is going to be, they've been told that this is going to be multiple years before this goes to trial. So we can assume that based on other cases as well, that like sometimes it takes a long time to actually go to trial. Think of Koberger, it was scheduled relatively quickly, and now it's like, wow, is it going to happen in 2052 or when? You know what I mean? So we just got to keep that in mind as well, because everyone's like, when's the trial? When's the trial? Well, his next court date, Stephan Sterns, is October 14th of 2024. We'll see what happens from there. They said they know that they can lose their son in a multitude of ways. Someone in the jail could off him. They're very aware of that, right? And that obviously makes them feel really devastated to think of what could happen to him now. The son that they've known and loved their whole life, right? To think of the worst that could happen to him in the jail. Okay, that must be a scary thought. Obviously not for us, because, you know, we're looking at it from a different lens. We've all got different lenses in general. We're here for Madeline Soto and what he's accused of doing to her. And then taking her life allegedly. No sympathy at all from me, right? Panda Play said, this case is so heartbreaking. Thanks for your coverage, G. Justice for Maddie. Hugs from me. Professional lurker, always here, hardly chat. Thank you so much, Panda Place. So they said, this is the most protracted death of a child one could ever go through. We will never touch him again. We aren't allowed to see him right now. We know he's out there, but he's not available. Okay? CS says that they've not heard from him in over 3 weeks and they don't know why. Now, I do find that interesting because when I'd ordered the jail call logs and the visitation records and then his commissary list, I did notice that, like, there was no contact. And I actually asked the clerk at the jail, why did the calls just stop? Like, what happened? And she said, well, there just hasn't been contact. And I'm like, huh. Interesting. Very interesting. So they don't know why there's no contact. If I were to speculate, I would probably think because of the high profile nature of this case, other inmates in the jail learning about it, maybe threatening him like, oh, you want to contact your mommy to get some more candy and books. You know what I mean? I could feel that I think that could happen. Maybe he's frightened. I don't know. I'm just speculating. The parents were speculating that maybe, he's not able to or not allowed to contact them. I don't think the jail's doing that. I would think it's more inmates that are on his case about it, right? So he's been in solitary confinement, according to his parents, since he was arrested. He was arrested on February 28th of 2024. They wish that they knew there was a problem with him. They said they didn't see red flags for this problem that he had, the CSAM, the child essay material, all of that. So they wish, in hindsight, that they were able to have spotted that. DS says that they had a problem with the sleeping arrangements and they addressed it, but they didn't take that up any further because she says she didn't feel they had to, She just said those are not the right sleeping arrangements, that shouldn't be happening, and she's too old, and that's it. That's where the conversation with that ended, right? So they said Maddie slept in DS's bed when Jennifer Soto stayed over. DS taught her how to cook. They crocheted. They did arts and crafts together. And Maddie is the one who told DS about the sleeping arrangement. So it wasn't Jen. It wasn't Stephan. It was actually Maddie that opened up to Deborah about the sleeping arrangements. All right. And she was like, no, that's not right. That's not normal. Okay. Madison Phillips said, yay, I caught you live. I'm so confused by Jay saying that she asked SS to help with MS so she could sleep. She hadn't missed her meds yet when she asked him, which makes me think he asked to see. I also think that he asked to see her for her birthday. That was his excuse to come over there. And I think that JS just let Stephan do whatever he wanted. Just like, okay, well, you want to come over? All right. Because she had 2 days off, right? She had 2 days off. Sherry D said spotting it and ignoring it are two different things. Right? Here comes drama. Says the other inmates will never forget, so I guess he'll never speak to his parents. I don't know. Until he goes to trial and gets moved to prison, right? If he does. If he's convicted. This is also a death penalty case. So, wow. All right. So, MS was described by Stephan's mom as an absolute joy, happy, precocious, smiling, walked with a bounce, and giggled a lot. It was really nice to hear that because we haven't heard too many people describe Maddie in such a positive way. And by that I mean, like, her own mother is always like, she was a problem, And then there's the ADHD, and she lists up all her symptoms and says that she's forgetful and all these things, and she just didn't have that much nice to say about Maddie. So it's really nice to hear from someone who's actually spent time with Maddie to describe her in this way, right? By saying she was an absolute joy, happy, precocious, smiling, walked with a bounce, and giggled a lot. Deborah then said, she's a child. She should still be here. And we can all agree on that. You know, there's a lot that we can agree on with Stephan's parents. Some things we might not agree on. And I think that's okay. We're from different perspectives, right? So MS would drape her, according to DS, MS would drape her arm around Stephan when they sat on the sofa and tell him that she loved him. They heard, now when DS told her son the sleeping arrangement is not okay, and she also mentioned it to Jen, apparently Deborah says they heard, but they weren't comprehending and they were not going to change. So CS says that Stephan's modus operandi is saying one thing and doing another. DS, his mother, says that he was a gaslighter. So remember there was one audio interview we heard where Stephan's mother was like, that mother effer. That was a good moment. Yeah. Snark at him, right? I understood in that moment. But here as well, she's like, oh my word, he was a gaslighter. And she said he was so good at it, like you would literally, that is what gaslighting is, doubt yourself. You start doubting your own reality and yourself. You're like, what? Because he does it with such sincerity, the things that he's saying that turns out to be a complete lie. So she says he was a gaslighter. She said they had missing money, missing jewelry. Her deceased father's Rolex went missing last year. So that would be in 2023. And she said he won't even admit it to me now. So if you won't admit to that, one could only assume, wow, he's not going to confess anytime soon, hey? You know. Madison said, I ran out of the room. I wanted to finish with, you're my favorite true crime channel, and we love you here in Texas. Oh, thank you so much. So, apparently, yeah, he was stealing from his parents, which really sucks as well, right? It sounds like he was stealing from just about everyone. Even Maddie and Jen at some point had speculated that he stole Maddie's Christmas money, but then Jen later said, well, we found it. I do wonder if they did find that money or if she just said that. Angels are here. Caught alive finally. Motive? I don't know, maybe. Thank you so much for your sticker. I'm just going to pop these on the screen. I might not be able to interrupt, but I'll put all these, when I see the colors, I'll do my best to put them on the screen. Thank you so much, Yvonne. So, lying, gaslighting started as a teenager because they were asked, well, when did this start? Started as a teenager, right? So, okay, now, they say that Stephan Sterns wrecked his car, and they never got the true story about that. They said his lies started small and got bigger and bigger as he got older, which clearly now we could see based on the charges, hey. Yeah, those are some big lies that he told. And even to his parents on that day, he was lying to his dad, lying through his teeth that whole time about the timeline and the changing of the tire and all that stuff. Now, JS didn't want to go to her mother when they had to stay elsewhere when they were actually kicked out of the house because it became a crime scene, The forensics were all in there, taking pictures, the search warrant, all of that. And Stephan's mom says, yeah, they got on like oil and water, meaning Jen and her mother, which is interesting because in that online diary that I'd found on Reddit, and thank you to the person who emailed me and sent me a message on Patreon to say that you posted it, you found it. Thank you so much. I've had a look at that. We haven't discussed that yet, you guys. But there's an online diary from 2010 that Jen Soto had, right? And there it does seem like she doesn't get along that well with her own mother. So it's interesting that was obviously Stephan's mother's observation as well. They said that Jen was calm and unemotional about the CSAM image that she was actually saw, and she was describing to CS, not Stephan, sorry. She was describing it to Stephan's dad. Like, oh my goodness, the police showed me this image, and then she was describing it. And then Stephan's dad said, well, now you can't get that image out of his head. Like, that's terrible. Like, what she was describing, like, wait, what? Right? And so they found it really odd, though, how calm she was about it. Because remember, they had lunch together. We went over some interviews as well. And already then they said they found it really odd how calm she is. Like, and it could be her medication. And it could also be that she didn't love her daughter very much and didn't care very much, right? It could be both. It could be either. We don't know. Now, they said that Stephan was assaulted. Now, this is interesting. He was assaulted by a man in California when he was 16 or 17. The man got out of the truck and was choking him to death. Oh, dear. Okay. Think about what he's accused of doing to Madeline. Like, apparently, she died of strangulation. So it's just interesting hearing about this incident and what state of mind he was in there. So the man got out of the truck and was choking him to death, is what they said. They said Stephan had a pocket knife and stabbed the man in the chest. The man survived. The man got arrested for physical assault. And they say that Stephan had PTSD from that incident, but he didn't open up to them so much about his problems or anything that he was struggling with, suffering with. But now they say in hindsight, he had PTSD from that incident. Stephan Sterns was with a group of friends, and they gave this guy the middle finger, which triggered the incident. So the guy was driving by in a truck, and when he saw them pull a middle finger, he turned the car around and the truck around, and then he was described as being so tall that he like folded out of the truck, and then he physically assaulted only Stephan Sterns out of the whole group. So he found someone there to pick on, right? Marie says, do you think most of the bad stuff happened while Madeline was passed out with meds during incidents? That is what the CSAM charges say. They all say it appears that the victim was sleeping. However, in the drawings, which I've never shown on my channel, I never will, the drawings that Maddie made in her journal, they were blurred and shown on the most recent Court TV segment that I have done. And Vinny had asked me a question about that. And in those drawings, what I was going on about it right at the end there, those drawings show that she wasn't sleeping. You know what I mean? So if the 60 plus CSAM charges all say appears the victim was sleeping, I would speculate, maybe he knocked her out or something. But there were other times, of course, when she wasn't, because she was able to, draw her trauma. That's why I'll never show it. It's a minor who was sexually abused, and she's drawing those things because she's trying to understand, right, what's happening to her. Yeah, Big Girl for Life says those drawings are absolutely insane. It's so devastating, So, okay. It was a group. Okay, another incident at age 17. They said that Stephan reeked of alcohol. He sampled all the alcohol in the home and was going to take his friend home when his dad stopped him. So he was apparently coming down the stairs when his dad was going up the stairs, and when his dad walked past him, he's like, damn, he reeks of alcohol. Like, where are you going? He's like, no, he's just going to drop off his friend. He's like, no. no, you're not driving like that, right? So after that, they said they got rid of all the alcohol in the home. Thank you so much, Ina? How do I say it? I hope I said it okay. All right, so let's keep going. We've still got a few more slides to do, and then we'll go to the audio. Now, they said they always had open communication with him, or they at least tried to, right? But they never got the truth from him. When they think about it now, they're like, we never got the truth out of this guy. They said that he was actually very closed off. He didn't open up about problems that he experienced. So while they had a good dialogue going and they were a close family, they just didn't feel like he ever really opened up about any problems, any struggles, and that they never got the truth out of him. His dad said in previous audio interviews, when his lips moved, he lied. Every time he was talking, he was basically lying. They said that they watch the broadcast and they read the comments. That includes us. They didn't say our name or anything, but I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you listen to it, you're like, oh, some of that's us. Okay, so they do. We always say that families are watching and reading the comments, and we try our very best, obviously, to keep it kind. All the snark is directed at Stephan Sterns, okay? If a mother feels protective of that, I understand. But I want to continue snarking about Stephan Sterns. I'm very upset about what he's accused of, what evidence he had on his phone, and Madeline is the victim in this case. So they said they watch the broadcast, they read the comments, they find it amazing that people watch hours of these files and say, don't they have a life? We have a life, right? I'll speak for us. I'll speak for myself. We got a life, and we want justice, especially for vulnerable children who were abused for years in plain sight, under her mother's nose, for example, in this case, and then murdered. Yeah, so we've got time for that, to unpack that. Of course, this is my full-time job, so it's what I do now, full-time, right? But yeah, it bothers me so much what happened to Madeline, and I think raising awareness about it might help save another life, might help someone else spot some red flags. If they didn't think about it before, didn't see it, maybe the thought just never crossed their mind. They're like, wait a minute, So the Secret Forest Creature said SS is an entitled, spoiled brat enabled by his parents to a certain degree. I believe DS is also narcissistic. Thank you for sharing your opinion, and thank you for your sticker. So They said that SS's attorney has instructed him not to say anything to his parents. I'm putting in brackets, obviously. Obviously, it's not like, whoa, like, can you believe that his attorney said? Obviously, his attorney's going to say that. Just put that in there because they mentioned that. They said there was an accident 30 years ago. He had traumatic brain injury. We've discussed this before, but they went into it again. They said that Stephan was run over by a pickup truck twice. They then said he was hit on the back of the head and then the forehead. They're amazed he was not wheelchair bound from this. Later in the interview, DS, his mother, says that he had a cane. He went to a chiropractor. He didn't stay overnight at the hospital, but later had a cane and a chiropractor. Okay. And they said also that the car went over his pelvis and lower back and that he had memory loss after this. He literally would see pictures and be like, where was that taken? When was that taken? Right? Okay. So, they said he had nausea, sensitivity to light, suffered from PTSD from that incident, and he had a lot of separation anxiety after that. Interesting. His personality changed 180 degrees. Also interesting. They said before that he was high energy, full of love and laughter, but he became, I guess, the sloth-like creature we've come to know in the media after that, right? So they encouraged him to participate in sports. Apparently, he also had a kidney disorder that required surgery also around that age. A lot happened to him around that age. There's like this guy that physically assaulted him, and then there's this incident with a truck running over him twice, and then there's also a kidney disorder that required surgery, and they say he was the first to receive that surgery where a robot was used. So it was a little bit experimental in that way with a robot being used, and that then his case appeared in medical journals. They said he enjoyed karate, right? They said they kept trying to introduce him to activities to motivate him. If he liked something, he focused in on that. Unfortunately, if you look at that in a sinister way, if he liked something, he hyper-focused on that, and that very sadly seemed to become Madeline Soto. I think he objectified Madeline Soto. I think he felt that he possessed her, is my opinion, and that she belonged to him and no one else. And that's very sad because she had her own life, spirit, thoughts, ideas, interests. She had a whole life ahead of her. And he, oh so selfishly, that's an understatement, okay, took that from her. I will never, in my life, I've never met Stephan Sterns. I'll never forgive him for that ever, 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 ever. Okay, so they said that it was frustrating for them to try to get him to live, to like assimilate to a normal life, to live a normal life, to, integrate and just like go play sports and recover basically from what he'd gone through with the truck riding over him and all of that. Patches like word of the day, sloth-like, very sloth-like. He became extremely lazy. I think, if I just speculate, that he went into victim mode and he stayed forever in victim mode. And that's it's not a productive mode to be in. You can survive things, you can be a survivor. To stay in victim mode kind of keeps you disempowered, it keeps you unproductive. It can keep you very depressed, right? So to be like, no man, I survived that, and you dust yourself off and you soldier on. I wish you could have done that, because it seemed like you really enjoyed the pity, and being lazy after that, not having to do all that much. Anyway, that's my opinion. So they said they were very close, and that he was very close with them and very loving. When he was younger, they described him as bubbly, right? Yeah, Dr. Berry says, I personally don't think that TBI, the traumatic brain injury, explains his behavior, just my thoughts. I must agree with you. While it's always interesting in true crime cases when traumatic brain injury comes up, right? Oftentimes, if you study serial killers, it's like, whoa, there's a lot of them that had that, which is interesting. However, I don't think that's to blame for what he did. I think he is to blame, fully. No excuses. Him and his sinister sexual desires, what he wanted for pleasure and what he thought he owned, right? Okay. Yeah, Jeep Sahara says JS is in perpetual victim mode. I agree, and I think that's how they found each other as well. And I think because Stephan Sterns, in my opinion, is in this victim mode, he would also know how to, find people also in that mode and operate just very much like groomers and predators do, to take full advantage of that situation. Okay, because I think for him, it's also a big choice to be like, oh, okay, this will help me just like not really have to get a job. I don't really have to do anything. Don't have to do chores. Don't have to clean my room. Don't have to have any ambition. I was hit by a truck once upon a time. Like, oh my goodness. Ivan says the interview, the forensic psychologist asked tricky questions about growing up. If the defense attorney is using his traumatic brain injury caused him to behave childish, I feel they acted as victims, but Maddie's the victim. Well, over here, I'm like, Maddie's the victim. 100%. So I agree with you, Ivan. Thank you so much for your sticker. Book Mama said, if I found out my child did something so horrific, I would love my child be grieved over her choices. Yeah, his or her choices. Okay, but you're saying your situation, her choices, but I would never make excuses for her. Right? And me neither. So, but that's why I say, everyone's different. This is my channel and I express my opinion and people don't have to like it. You know what I mean? No one's going to convince me to be like, Grizzly, you have to like it. I will never like it. There's no excuses. And yeah, someone's got to say it. You know what I mean? There's no excuses, especially regarding Stephan Sterns. Oh, no. Okay, so they said that we loved that kid to death, smothered him, is what CS said. And then DS corrected him. No, not smothered, not smothered. That was interesting. It was like a very, very interesting moment of just like, no, we loved him. We loved the kid to death, smothered him. No, not smothered. Maybe, I don't know. That was just, if you see that moment, you'll see what I mean. It was quite interesting. So they said still today, there's still an outward display of love and affection. This is a son that we don't know, not the son that we do know. They mean that, Stephan is like two versions of him. The son that they know and love. And then there's this other guy who's charged with all these crimes, right? The CSAM and a murder charge. And they're like, wait, what? So I understand that as well. That people like Stephan Sterns wear masks. Maybe they don't see any of this side ever. So that must also be quite frightening. All right. They said it was a daily, DS said it was, no, yeah, DS said it was a daily fight to get him to go to school, to like get him to get up, get ready, go to school, do your schoolwork, all of that. It was very tedious, it sounded like. And so there was actually a teacher that suggested homeschooling. So for 2.5 years, he was homeschooled. DS, Stephan's mother, said it was actually much more productive because he could sleep in. He would get up at 10 and then he would do his homeschooling. It was with a virtual, like online, right? So she didn't have to teach him herself. It was like an online virtual school, right? And so he did some homeschooling and it worked out well for him. She said that he was very solitary in high school. He had 4 to 5 close friends, not a social butterfly. They think the accident was the reason for that behavior as well. Now, I must say, I'm very solitary. I'm an only child, number one. Like my own space, like my own stuff, okay? And so I just mean like, when they're like, he's very solitary in high school with 4 to 5 friends, I'm like, that's a lot. 4 to 5 friends that he's like hanging out with. That's a social butterfly to me. I don't know about any of you. I know many of us are very similar in that way of just like, oh no, it's too peoply. That's way too peoply. Maybe like one at a time, go to a movie once a week or so. I don't know, but that's too much. But anyway, it's interesting that they're like very solitary. So they must be quite social if they describe him that way, right? Okay. Now DS taught him to fish. So she said that she's the one who taught him to fish because the dad doesn't fish. And so she also got him a horse and said that he had to help her with chores related to the horse. In my personal opinion, I do not believe that he helped with chores related to the horse. I think it sounds nice and that was the idea, but I don't know if he ever really helped. In my opinion, I've never met these people. It's what I observe and what I'm saying. He just sounds like someone who's just like, give me a horse. And, I don't know if he would have ever picked up any poop, scooped up any hay, who knows. Okay, so they agree that he was very childlike and had childlike interests. But then DS, his mother, said, yeah, but he's a narcissist and he has no impulse control. So that was interesting. Just being like, the question that Dr. John asked was, well, based on what we're hearing, he was very childlike interest, like, with the Pokemon cards and all the Disney stuff and all of that. And they're like, yes, very childlike, but also a narcissist. Okay. So yeah, his mother is saying that she believes he's a narcissist. So that's also interesting. Again, I think we could all probably agree on that. See, we can agree on a couple of things there with DS. Barbara said Debbie called him a Ladai too. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that part. She's very conflicted, critical, and praising. That's true as well. And I mean, I understand that as well. The conflicting thoughts and feelings the whole time of like, this is who we know, but this is who he turned out to be. This is who he is. Who is the, it must be very confusing. She's very conflicted, critical, and praising, right? So they said DS took away his phone, wallet, and car keys because he didn't clean his room. I couldn't gather exactly what age that was, but it sounded like he was a grown-ass man. It's just like, okay, we got to do something now to get this guy to clean his room. I don't know. He was a sloth, okay? He liked to live in his own filth. By the sounds of it in other interviews we've heard. I'm not just making that up. Okay, so they said, the mother said that she wanted to put a hazmat sign on his door as a joke because his room was so dirty. Okay, now they said, I think it would be better, by the way, in my opinion, to just leave him like that, just like rot in your own filth until he gets to the breaking point. Because if one always scoops up his mess, that's what he's waiting for, is for you to scoop up his mess. No. Let him sit in his own filth for a while there. I'm talking about that scenario. Elaine said, spoiled bloody brat is what he is. I mean, he does sound very privileged, very spoiled. Doesn't really have to think about getting a job. What? I don't know, man. I'm from South Africa. Like, we're a nation of survivors and incredibly hard workers, and life is tough there, and we're tough people, but we're very friendly. And I'm just like, if you had to explain this case and how Stephan Sterns lived to the average South African, we'd be like, he didn't have to work. Like, what did this guy do? He just bought toys? I don't understand. Like, where's the survival? You didn't have to survive? Not much, by the sounds of it. But anyway, again, that's my lens, okay? So they said that he always procrastinated. They didn't approve of his friends. They said they were, taking drugs and drank alcohol, and they were partying, and they had no ambition. In one interview we heard before, Stephan's dad actually said that he personally only hangs out with the elites, and I'm like, interesting. With the elites, but Stephan had all these crappy friends basically, and they're definitely not happy about those friends phoning into other YouTube channels and saying things to those YouTubers. I'm so used to all the snark at YouTubers. I get it. So I'm sure it's not nice, but at the same time, it's nice to hear different perspectives, even if it's what friends observed, right? Charlie, thank you so much. So they said they disapproved of Jen Soto because she was not a good influence on him. That's where I'm like, really? I'm sure they were not a good influence on each other. They both sound to me like pretty crap human beings. JS and Stephan Sterns. However, whoa, Stephan is way higher on that scale of crap than she is, in my opinion, at this moment, right? Based on what he's accused of, what they found on his phone, what he did, just even that is like, wow. So, but anyway, they say that they didn't approve of her because she was not a good influence on him. Okay. I would almost, wow, you're going to hear me for a moment, sort of stand up for Jen Soto. Can you believe it? I'm just like, if you look at Jen Soto before she met Stephan and in the beginning, and how she even physically deteriorated, her self-care went out the window. You know what I mean? I know she was going for the Botox and all that, and maybe she was doing the more plain look for the media interviews so that she could, we've seen that in cases too before, but I'm just like, shame. It just looks to me like she got more and more sleepy and more just tired and lazy and sloth-like and didn't care about herself or anyone else very much. That's what it seems like, just from the outside looking in. So I'm like, I would argue the other way around. I think he was not a good influence on her. But who knows? Who knows? And I mean, he also picked his company. You know what I mean? He picked those types of friends, and then he picked that type of partner. I think that he holds quite a bit of responsibility there as well for his own behavior. You know what I mean? Okay, so they said, now this was interesting, because I think he behaves like a wounded bird. But DS said that they call this wounded bird syndrome because DS, his mother, says that he always needed someone that he could coddle and protect. That doesn't sound like the Sterns we know. The Stephan Sterns we know. Coddle and protect. Groom and abuse is what I would call that in the scenario that we're looking at in this case. But okay, they say it was wounded bird syndrome. He always found these broken people that he could nurture and, coddle and protect. So I don't know. Did you get any vibes of protection from this guy? Because I didn't ever see that, right? Ever. I would never feel safe with him Even if he was a friend and I never knew what he did. Never. He doesn't give off the vibe of safety. He's got no dad vibes. He's got no spine. In my opinion, I'm not feeling any spinal energy. I think the spine is lacking a little bit of backbone lacking there. So anyway, they said CS says that his self-esteem was low. He was sharing his opinion. He thinks his self-esteem was low, and that maybe he felt that he was not worthy of someone equal to or greater than him. And that he went further to say maybe he surrounded himself with people that, wouldn't put him down. Well, maybe that could be, if we speculate, some type of narcissistic behavior to always feel like the big fish in a small pond, to always feel like the smartest guy in the room, and to take advantage of the situation, to have your needs met, which are very, very twisted. Ellie said when the mom was talking about how she will send him whatever books and hard candy he wanted, regardless of what YouTubers say. Sorry about that, but yes. She's like, why is it their business? Well, it's public record. And I don't want him to sit there eating freaking candy and reading books. His mom can want that for him. I don't. And that's my opinion. Me. I don't want that for him. I want him to have zero comfort. Me personally. Okay? Because of what he did, allegedly, to Madeline Soto. Thank you, sir. So, they said they aren't aware of Stephan having any relationships with minors even when he was 17, and that's based on a comment that Jen Soto made in that police video interview where she said when Stephan was 19 or 20, she knows that he was dating, well, he told her that he was dating a 15-year-old. To me, that was a red flag, but they're saying no, he was 17 and he graduated when he was 17, and no, he wasn't, they didn't see any of that, right? Now, they said all of his friends were also his age because they asked, are the friends older than him, younger than him? They said no, all his age. And he was always into the latest and greatest toys. He was exposed to the best at Disney, is what CS said. I still want to know where the frick did he get all the money for that? They did speculate about that for a second, and they do also wonder where did Jen Soto and Stephan Sterns get all the money for him to buy all these toys, collect all these things. Like those Tamagotchis are not cheap. If you buy those collector's items, they're like $600 a pop, So thank you to the person who emailed me that information, by the way. Okay. So let's carry on here. They said that he bought this like Star Wars helmet and lightsabers. We've heard him say lots about lightsabers, and he talked about when the police were like, what photos do you have on your phone? Huh? And he's like, lightsaber pictures, Disney pictures. He was just going over like some random picture, not obviously the CSAM, because he didn't know that they know. Anyway, but they said, CS said he obviously had a fetish for it. And Dia says that she did find it weird that he's like this 37-year-old man buying all these toys. You know what I mean? Then CS, his dad, said that he told him to focus on being an adult, like draw a line in the sand, focus on being an adult. And he said, I just kept waiting for that shoe to drop and it just never got there. Well, that is unfortunate, right? That sucks. If you really, really want your son to spread those wings and fly, be an adult that is just like, yeah, I never did. In that way, I guess the movie, which is a comedy, I know, but failure to launch, it's helpful in that sense because, like, yeah, you got to cut off their supply. No more doing their laundry, no more cleaning their room, no more giving them privileges. No, you kick them out. You say, no, you got to be on your 2 feet now. So they learn to survive. Otherwise, they might never. And so at 18, they said that SS was robbed at gunpoint. See, a lot happened between 16 and 18 for him, it sounds like. He was robbed at gunpoint, and so CS said that he hired a black ops guy and they did one-to-one training to help educate him on firearms and to defend himself. So that's why they were saying why he had the gun, I guess, even at Jen's house, why he always had that with him, okay? And so, I mean, having that for self-protection is especially normal in the USA, right? Right? You guys often, I'm not that used to that. But I do believe in Switzerland, I live in Switzerland now, right? There's a lot of people that are armed for self-defense, which makes sense. Okay, so they said that Dia said yes, completely when asked if he experienced depression. So she was very much like, yes, completely. They say he was in counseling for years. He was in counseling even 3 months before he was incarcerated. But then his mother said that she thinks he did it to get medical MJ prescribed. Well, there again, it would be using and abusing a system. If he was doing it with that motive, to kind of freeload off the medical system. You know what I mean? That sucks. So they say he was a self-perfectionist. That's hard for me to believe, but okay. A self-perfectionist and a perfectionist with everybody else around him. I think he was an emotional bully, is what his mother said. So his mother's already called him a gaslighter, a narcissist, and an emotional bully. So that says a lot too. That's coming from his own mother, even though she loves him unconditionally. I'm listening to the profile of Stephan Sterns directly from his mother. And I find that interesting given the case, right? Kelly says Jen knew about the snuggle cuddle time, and the Woody Allen comment will void Jen's immunity. Her comment proves she was completely aware of the abuse. I can't disagree with you, right? So we're almost there. I know, I told you this will take a little while. Go to the timestamp if you just want to hear the audio. All right, so they said that he had an IQ that bordered on genius. And then when asked why was that IQ test done, under what circumstances, was it because of the traumatic brain injury? They said, no, it's because of the school system. And he did a bunch of tests, and they said that he's got ADHD and that, you know, his IQ bordered on genius. Could they test it again? I'm like, can they test it again? Even if he is, I mean, so was Ted Bundy. I know that's a serial killer. I'm not comparing this one to a serial killer. I'm just saying, it being smart, like it nearly, put it this way, if his IQ was nearly genius level, what dumb mistakes he made. What a dumbass for, like, what do you call it? Street smart. He was not street smart at all, right? No survival skills there. Stephan's like, that's a hard border. So he apparently wanted to join the Air Force. But surgeries from that kidney-involved surgery, they said, kept him from the military because he had like scars from it. And so that immediately disqualified him. He applied when he was 18, and that was a huge letdown for him when he did not qualify. Interesting. Elaine said self-perfectionist sounds like a fragile ego of a narcissist issue. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me as well. So they said that, and this one again, they said, okay, wait, he said he got very depressed and angry after this. Well, I guess he thought he was just going to like glide into it. Like, I'm going to be Top Gun now. I'm a maverick. I'm going in. And they're like, no, you're not. And he's like, what? What the hell? So, okay. So they said that Stephan Sterns has deep empathy for people. Ooh, that's difficult for me to believe. Very, very difficult. I think sometimes if he is narcissistic or on that sort of a spectrum, you know, then what if he just made it appear like he had empathy? He could just manipulate and play the game, you know, so that he could soften people, diffuse them, you know, dissolve their boundaries. I would think it's more like that, because to say that he had a deep empathy for people, there's a lot of empaths in this community. From anything you've seen, do you see and feel a deep empathy coming from that guy? You know, the spineless creature? Me, I don't. Okay. Anyway, again, that's my opinion. And you can have a different opinion. All right. So they said that he considered becoming a drug counselor after a friend died from an overdose. Yeah, that's also interesting, given that him and Jen they sounded like major pill poppers, and he's getting the medical MJ, and he's just, I don't know, they operate like addicts. So to then say that he's going to become like a drug counselor, I'm like, you might want to clean up your own act first, right? But anyway, again, he wanted to teach others because I think he thought he was all that. All right, so they said that DS says that Stephan had such a love for animals. He rescued a kitten. He rescued his aunt's dog. The aunt apparently has dementia. And when Stephan went into the home, the dog's harness was like part of its body. It had been so neglected. And I'm like, what? And there was poop all over the dog, and the dog was in a terrible condition. And Stephan took the dog home and said, we need to groom this dog. We need to wash this dog. We need to take care of this dog. Okay. And so he loved his horse. A comment I'll make, again, I'm not comparing Stephan Sterns to a serial killer. I've just studied serial killers a lot, so I'm just going to make this example that Jeffrey Dahmer himself also loved his animals. He loved animals, and he loved roadkill. He felt sorry for them that they just got knocked over and left like that on the road, you know what I mean? But then look what he did to human beings, right? Stephan's like, he considered a lot of professions. Yes, he did indeed. Okay. So I see there's people that are confused about him not making it into the Air Force. So I think if you have major operations and things, and there's some sort of scars from these operations, then you can't be in the military. I've heard that from watching House, the series about Dr. House. They also said something about, there was a lady that had like, no, you can't have those. We didn't have that in South Africa, but I wasn't in the Air Force. I was in South African Airways. I was a pilot there for 9 years. But like, they saw the scars during all the testing. Even when I became an airline pilot, there were so many steps to even get into the program. Of course, I got into a scholarship program, but damn, they even tested like our eye pressure and like brain waves and like everything. And if anything wasn't like 100%, you're out. So it was something like that. You know, if you wanted to get into the Air Force and they knew that, okay, no, you had this major surgery, that's not okay. I mean, obviously, if you're colorblind, you also can't be, which disappoints a lot of people, right? All right. Yeah, Little Irish Girl says House was amazing. I'm always like 20 years behind on TV shows. I'm busy watching it now. If you are on Patreon or you're a member, you know. We talk about it here and there. Okay, so they said that SS, so Stephan had his own poodle called Shadow, but Jen didn't want him to bring Shadow over to her house when he was going to move in there because it was a big dog, and Jen felt that the dog would jump up and knock Maddie over. Interesting. So he was going to try rehabbing people, is what his mother said. And I'm like, I don't think that he can rehabilitate anybody because he himself has no spine from what I've observed, and he can't even get on his own 2 feet. You can't help people if you're not okay. We all know this. Again, I'll use an aviation analogy of just like, you can't help someone until you put your own oxygen mask on. Like, he can't help anybody else until he stands on his own 2 feet, has his own job, has his own place, has his own healthy relationships. You know what I mean? But anyway, he apparently wanted to go and try to rehab people, fix everyone else, but not look in the mirror, right? They said he always covered for his friends, and we've heard that before. We've heard that before from his mother, saying like they're angry because they even said to him when he was first arrested, you're covering for her, for Jen, like you covered for your friends. Why do you do this? Like, if she did anything, out with it now. You know, don't protect her, don't cover for her. And they brought it up again that he covered for his friends. As a child, they described him as 2 sides of the same coin. She didn't like one side, but always loves him. Okay. So that's also, obviously, you can't just love everything. You can't, no. You might not like everything about a person, but if you love them, you love them. And especially if they're your children, right? Obviously not all parents, we know that. Okay, so they said, we are not abandoning our child. He's wounded. He is having PTSD in jail. He has lost a tremendous amount of weight. He's on heart and high blood pressure medication. That's what Dia said. Okay, and I've got the timestamp here for you so that you can hear it with your own ears. 1:24:30. Here we go. Okay, I just want you to see it so you could see it how she said it, right? Okay. This is Hidden True Crimes episode. I've linked it in the description box for you to go and check out in full if you haven't seen it yet, right? Here we go.
Sometimes you don't even like him. I mean, I can say I can love somebody, but I don't have to like them. I don't have to like the way they act. But that doesn't mean I don't love them. And that doesn't mean that we're ever, despite what anybody on YouTube says or anybody hints at, we are not abandoning our child. He is wounded. He is having PTSD in jail. He has lost a tremendous amount of weight. He is on heart medication, high blood pressure medication, which he was not before. And I understand that people think that he needs to suffer. Well, yes, okay. He needs to be punished and maybe he needs to suffer. But don't expect me as a mother to turn off my heart and say, buddy, you're on your own. I don't like you. I don't like what you did. And I'm not going to stand by you one bit. Because I want him, for the time he has left on this earth, and we don't know how long it is, I will give him as much support as he wants and needs. I want him to be strong in body, mind, and spirit. I want him speaking to God. I want him asking for forgiveness. if we can do what we can to keep his mind active, because he is in solitary and has been for 8 months, I will send him as many books as he wants to read. And it's nobody else's damn business what I do with my money or where I send a book. They all have to be approved by the jail. So
I think that's on the back of what I said about that. I was definitely snarking about that. Like, oh my goodness, they're nurturing him in jail still. He could live so comfortably when he was just a free man child. And now in jail, it's like root beer, candy, and books. Talking to him is one thing, but spoiling him is another, in my opinion. And so I said that before, and I'm like, damn, I hate that because I don't want him to have that. The snark was always at him. I don't want him to have those comforts. Obviously, his mother wants him to have that. I don't, and I'm allowed my opinion too, right? I would like him to suffer more. Yeah, a lot. Look at what you did, bro, allegedly, especially with the hard evidence they found on the phone, right? I know the rest. Everything's going to trial. He's innocent until proven guilty. You don't need to preach to the choir. I get it. Okay, so Tammy said he probably told his parents he had just been covering for a friend when he got caught doing something wrong. Yeah, I also think so. It's them that did it. You said narcissists don't take the fall for other people. Yeah, that as well. Okay, so let's just listen a little more here.
And if we want to give him commissary money so he can have coffee or hard candy, whose business is it of it? Really? Wouldn't they do this?
The public, because it's now it's the American justice system. It's the Freedom of Information Act. We don't have that in all countries, but like, whose business is it? I don't know. It's public information. It's literally public information to try to understand this freaking monster, you know, who's also just a man-child. I don't like to say monster often about these perpetrators because then people think that they're like looking for these monsters out there, but it's people in plain sight, you know, right under your nose that commit some of the worst crimes oftentimes, as we know, right? So let me not call him a monster. This is a baby boy, right? Nature goes like, David's mad at you, Grizzly. Love you. She's freaking mad right now. They might be watching right now. And I understand that they're mad. I still say, I understand that they're mad. I'm mad at Stephan Sterns. They can do whatever they want. I can also have my opinion about it. I don't like it, and I don't have to like it, you know? And I know so many mothers would be completely unconditional. I understand that. I do not come from a place of unconditional anything. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get that kind of treatment. I excelled at a lot that they wanted me to do, and I still... No, I didn't get hard root beer, candy, and books sent to me, okay? So I'm not used to it. I don't like it, and I particularly don't like it for alleged killers and child SAists. You know what I mean? I'm like, ooh, they deserve the worst. Like, literally, never have candy again. Right? That's my opinion. It makes me angry that he's sitting there in his cell, still getting some love. I don't want that for him. His mother can want that for him. I don't want it. Frankie said, ew, that statement's exactly why he is who he is. I was in prison for drugs in my family, never put dollars in my books. And there's so many, you said that's true love, sober 4 years now. Thank you so much, Frankie. And congratulations for being sober for 4 years. That is a huge achievement. So I wanted to say as well that when she said in jail, it's almost like the way it's said is like that he shouldn't be there, you know? That it's like he's sitting in jail. Well, yeah. Madeline is reduced to ashes. A 13-year-old girl doesn't have a life to live anymore. So him being there like he's lost weight, he's got PTSD, I don't give a crap. In fact, I quite like hearing that. I'm like, tell us more. Tell us more about that. Okay, so.
Sane? Wouldn't anybody?
No.
I mean, I don't understand throwing them out like you know, bad fish.
Yeah, our love is unconditional and unwavering. It's not going to happen. So I don't know how a parent could take that attitude and just abandon their child in spite of what they did. Obviously, there's a reason for what happened. He certainly wasn't raised that way, and we're just not going to abandon him. It's not going to happen.
You're his parents.
Yep.
And as we all know, not all parents are like that. It's a very nice idea. If parents are unconditional and can always be there and I understand it and people don't need to convince me about it. But I also can't pretend that I know what that feels like, you know, and that also that I would ever do that. If I had children, oh, no. we different. I would just be like, nope, that's it. Burn that bridge. But that's my take. It's not everyone. I'm in the minority with this, okay? I think. Anyway, but I'm just like, tell us again how he's suffering there. He's he's doing what now? Solitary confinement. Not talking to anyone for 3 weeks. Oh, okay, thank you. Okay. Lil Red said, you are amazing. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, so Chris said, I'm sorry, but I agree with him. I'd still love my kid. I understand that. I totally understand, right? That's what I'm saying. I understand that. My take on it doesn't mean that their take on it is wrong. It's just my take on it. Okay, so moving on. We're sitting here too long in this presentation. We've got to get to the audio. Okay, I might actually clip this as well for people who only want to see this part later in a separate video. Now, moving on. Let's go here. They said, there was the timestamp. They said that he's lost all this weight. He's on heart and high blood pressure medication. And they also said, they asked if they think that Jennifer Soto is off the hook. Now, that's from 128. Hold on one second. Go to that timestamp quickly. I want to show you this. My thoughts explained said, I wouldn't dare go on public platforms to try to lend any explanations for his behaviors. They enabled him all of his life, and instead of finally holding him accountable, they used this time to defend him once again. For me, the focus is always Madeline Soto is the victim. Like, Stephan is by no means any victim, right? And even the parents, even if they're getting heat, if they're getting harassed and all that, no one wants I don't want that for them. I'm not, sending people over to do that. I would never do that. But they're not the victims either. I'm like, whoa, Madeline Soto is the victim, and she's my sole focus, and I want justice for her, right? So, okay, now listen to this little part here.
Perpetrator of all this.
That does not mean that I'm letting Jen off the hook at all. I cannot believe that somebody let this go on underneath their nose for 7 years. I don't understand how she didn't have a connection with Maddie enough that.
See, we agree on that, right? Right? It's just like, how in the hell did this go undetected? And we know it can sometimes. That's how groomers and predators operate. However, obviously, Jen sending Maddie to a separate room, instructing them to leave her to have good sleep, that's a little different.
That Maddie could go and say, hey, maybe my, something's not right here.
Well, even the roommates.
I'm scared or whatever.
Roommates even questioned Jen. I said, you're okay with this? You're allowing this? I was like, huh? And apparently she did.
But the immunity just galls me. I'm sorry. It galls me.
They talk about the derivative immunity, which they go into. This is at this timestamp. They just talk about that, which we talked about here before. So I'm just going to carry on now. So Dia says that she liked Jennifer Soto. Wow. Stephan's mom said that she actually liked Jennifer Soto, but didn't love her. And she feels great pain for her loss of her child. She said that Maddie called SS and asked him to come to the birthday party. I still wonder about that. She's still sticking to that Maddie called Stephan on Saturday and asked him to come to her birthday party. It's just so interesting if you think of that. And then Maddie was having a meltdown. She told her friend she's having a meltdown. She needs help. And also on the same day, Stephan Sterns is like freaking out and he's looking for anxiety meds. So I wonder what that was all about, I wonder if we'll ever know. User said he can have all the booked candy pickles he wants. It brings me comfort that he can never have another victim. That is true as well. You said that is what he really wants. That is true as well. And of course, no one's expecting anyone to abandon their child. I'm not saying you better abandon your child. I'm not saying that. I'm just like, whoa, I have a lot of rage when I think of Stephan Sterns. So I just can't imagine him having all of this, but he can have all of this if it brings me comfort that he can never have another victim. Yes, that is so well said. Thank you so much. Okay, so they said, wait, we were here. That Maddie called. Okay, wait, Jennifer, look. Just wait, I lost my place 1 second. Oh, they said, Dia says that they've been continuously compared to the laundries. Remember, they only live like 8 minutes away from the laundries. And obviously that was a huge case, the Gabby Petito case, right there in the area, right? So they don't want to be compared to the laundries. And Lauren from Hidden True Crime noted that obviously the difference would be that they've cooperated with the police. Stephan Sterns' parents have fully cooperated with the police all along the way. And we did not see that with the laundries, right? Or any remorse or anything, right? Okay, so Book Mama said, for me, the point is that parents are supposed to raise their children to be adults someday, not to be children for the rest of their lives. We're raising future adults, right? So They said that Saturday evening, the dad said he had some sort of anxiety or panic attack. He's never seen him like that. He had some sort of information. That's how he worded that. And then he talked about the hard drives that they found in the storage. And so it sounds to me like he's speculating that day when he was like freaking out, he was taking out the hard drives out of his computer. And that at some point he put it in the storeroom, his dad's storage. So that is interesting. If whatever information Stephan Sterns had from, I don't know, some phone call he had, or someone saying they know, or I told someone, or I'm going to tell someone, if Maddie said that, I don't know. But he's like freaking out, looking for anxiety meds, and then maybe taking out the hard drives and putting in the storeroom. And there were 35,000 CSAM images found on those hard drives. There were 2 hard drives. One had nothing on it. One had 35,000 pictures on it. About where, now this was an interesting one. They talked about where Maddie's body was discovered. And Stephan Sterns' dad said, I think he was careful in placing her where she would be found quickly. Deep down inside, he didn't want her out there very long. I think I wrote that wrong. Deep down inside, he didn't want her out there very long, is what she said. I don't know if I believe that. He had a flat tire there. Well, before. It seemed like he drove that tire until there was just about nothing left. But like, I think he was careful in placing her where she would be found quickly. Do you agree with that? Does anyone agree with that? Would you speculate that? Because I wouldn't. I think he ran into a problem. And he went back the next day, and it's interesting he didn't move her. I'm glad that he didn't like move her way further away, or, go to a lake or something like that. But like, I don't know if it's like he did something nice, because it's almost like it's worded like he did something nice. He like put her there where she'd be found quickly. I don't know if I believe that. Do you believe that? Let me know. Kim said, thank you so much for all your work, Grizzly. Justice for Maddie. No hate to the parents, but perhaps they need a bit more self-reflection. Fair? Thank you for your sticker. Okay. Blackbird Squeak says the 35K were on the USB, not the hard drive. Okay, but both found in the storeroom, right? From what I read in the documents there. Now, DS thinks that SS and JS manipulated each other. CS says that SS, Stephan Sterns, certainly knew how to manipulate Jen based on that Monday morning. And then his mother said, yeah, that was underhanded and sneaky, meaning the dog leash comment of like going into the room and trying to get the leash on the dog and then saying to Jen, no, you go back to sleep. I've got this. That's what they're talking about there. So they wonder if, this is interesting, they wonder if their son got mad and if it was an accident. Okay, so at 1 hour 42, let me just go here. 1:42, 15, somewhere around here. Okay, they said SS told them that Maddie was in bed. The quote was, he did tell us that he put her, she went to bed. Oh, okay, it's getting interesting. And when he went out to walk around and blow off some steam, he came back to check on her and she was cold. He said he discovered her. Now, we have not heard that before. I wonder if that's part of his defense. But what? So just look here.
I pray to God that it was an accident, that he
Here we go.
got mad and that it was an accident. Because we had really gone that far.
Sure.
Because he did tell us that he put her, she went to bed, and that when he went out to walk around and blow off some steam, he came back and to check on her and she was cold. He said he discovered her. Okay, so.
Don't know if that's the truth.
Yeah, don't know if that's the truth. Don't know if anything's the truth, but.
It's what he told you.
Yeah.
Sorry, first I muted the audio and then I muted myself. That was a big mess there, but I hope you heard it now, right? That was interesting. Like, to say that he did tell us that he put her, she went to bed. And when he went out to walk around and blow off some steam, there's some anger there, or what's going on there, right? Interesting. Okay, he came back to check on her and she was cold. He said he discovered her. Interesting. Thank you, Terry Jones. I don't know about you, but to me, that was one of the most interesting sentences in the whole interview. I'm like, wow, okay. So let me know what you think. Please also leave some comments afterwards because I'd love to read them. Thank you, Terry. So, okay, they say, I don't think he wants to put himself in a bad light with us. I think he wants to preserve some sort of image of himself being culpable, but not completely culpable, is what his mother said. And I think that's true. I think he would want to maintain some sort of image, especially to his parents, of course. I think that would only be natural. Why would he be like, I'm the worst person on earth and this is what I did? You know what I mean? Like, so, okay, Dia says that she didn't eat for 24 hours, that she's diabetic, and she was checked on by EMT, but the police report is wrong, that she was not taken to the hospital. So I wonder if by saying that, they're implying that, well, some details in the police reports are not correct. You know, are we supposed to doubt it all? I don't think so. I'm just saying I don't know why they said that they took her to the hospital, right? We have read that report before as well. Patty said, I have a feeling Jen called Stephan the night before her party and said Maddie missed her period. That's why he was freaking out. I don't know. Very interesting. So they're receiving lots of hate mails, text threats, harassment. Of course, we do not want any of that for them. Please don't do that. If you're part of this community, please don't do that. That should go without saying, right? We can study cases. We can talk about it here. You can, sometimes people, you know, we get snarky here. We say things, but don't harass them, call them, threaten them, show up at the house, any of that stuff that people sometimes do, right? So DS did not believe at first that her son did this, and they are accepting now that he did. Okay, so those are all my notes on that. I also quickly wanted to show you this before we dive into the audio, which I'm putting on the closed captions here. There was that police interview where they said to Jen, why did you say you didn't want her to come home? But she says, I didn't want her to come home harmed. She says harmed like that, which sounds like home, but listen.
Be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed. I just want her back. Whatever that means. I just want her back. Whatever that means. I just want her
back.
back.
My goodness, that sentence.
Harmed.
Harmed. You see?
I want her to be okay, and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed.
You see there. Maybe the first time the police saw that, they're like, why did you say you don't want her to come back home? Not home, harmed. Okay, so there's that. And now we finally get to the audio that we want to listen to today, which is 35 minutes because I chopped out some of the long driving noises. Just car, just driving. Silence, basically, right? Okay. Yeah, Kimberly said, I don't want her to come back harmed. I mean, it's still a weird sentence. I agree. It's still a weird sentence, but she didn't say, I don't want her to come back home, right? So everyone was asking about that in the last stream that we did. Okay, so now we're going to listen to this Jennifer Soto patrol car audio from March 1st of 2024. I know that we listened to, there's so many. Oh my goodness, there's so many. So let me first say this. If you hear this and you're like, haven't we heard this before? Firstly, you might have heard it elsewhere. Secondly, we might have gone over snippets of it. We've also read lots of documents about it, so a lot's going to sound familiar. However, we as a community have never listened to this full interview together. And it's part of all the files that I received, and it's, I think, the last one of Jen Soto's that I have for now. I don't know if there's more. I don't know if I'll receive more at some point, but like, okay, so we're going to listen to this, and I think it was in between. There was an audio interview in the morning on March 1st, and then the police video interview. Remember that? We watched that. So I think it's the in-between, from her house driving to the sheriff's office to have that interview that we saw the video of, all on March 1st. Remember, later on this day, there was a press conference, and later on the same day, March 1st, Maddie's body was discovered at around 4:30 p.m. Okay? So, here we go.
I know you guys left me a paper with a list of stuff you guys have taken, but I can barely read it, right? Because I guess it was written pretty lightly. Electronics that were taken from the house, will that be eventually returned once it's all looked at? Like, do you guys keep it forever? How does this work?
Eventually it'll be returned, yes.
Okay.
How long that takes, I don't know. It depends on how long, how much stuff's on there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
All right. Like I said, I just have a few more follow-up things to ask about our conversations last night. So we're going to take you to the Orange County Sheriff's Office to pick up your car because they said they're done processing it. And they have your key up there. So I don't know if you brought a spare key with you or not. But
I don't know. The key that, actually, just kidding, I might have my actual original key, but the key that you guys have up there is my spare key.
Oh, okay. So they have it up. And regardless, we have a key for you in case you don't have one. Your dad mentioned something to the fact that your sister saw that there's going to be some kind of press conference today?
Yes.
Okay. Just to let you know, and we touched about it briefly last night, that we are taking over the investigation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you say we, you mean homicide?
The Kissimmee Police Department.
Oh, okay.
So, but to answer your question, yes, we are now working this as a homicide.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have strong beliefs that Maddie is deceased.
Even on audio, there's still no reaction. Of course, she might just be in shock. I know people see it different ways. It's just like, oh yeah, it's a homicide investigation. I'm like, whew. She's not freaking out about that. Also, I missed a comment earlier. Jackie said, my dad and husband were recruiters for Army and Marine Corps. The scar would have stopped him from hiding medical issues. This would deem him medically unfit for service. Thank you so much, Jackie. Please leave your comments below afterwards, everyone, as well. I really look forward to reading them. I missed a lot of it because I was focused, obviously, on the presentation, because I don't want to sit here for like 4 hours doing the presentation before we get to this, right? I focus, we do that, and then I can't wait to read your comments. And I'll watch the live chat replay as well. Please like and share so others can also find this information.
So I don't want you to be caught off guard when that's being talked about later, okay?
Am I gonna be there at the press conference? Am I gonna hear it?
I don't know if it's going to be something that the family's invited to. Those decisions are way above my pay grade. It's just, I don't think they would want you there for that just because. But I may be wrong. To answer your question honestly, I do not know.
I've been avoiding the internet because my family is telling me that stuff has been leaked or reports from you guys on the New York Post or something. They're all traumatized from reading it. They're all telling me, don't. I don't want to hear anything.
Well, the only report that is been released is the stuff that we've already been discussed about.
It's taken, but I don't want to hear anything.
Well, the only report that is...
So you can turn on the closed captions on my channel. They're always on during live streams. And then afterwards, YouTube takes a few hours to process the live stream to put that back on. Okay?
Been released is the stuff that we've already been discussed about, that he was having a relationship with your daughter.
But somebody said that was like a redacted report or something with graphic details in it.
Yeah, I don't know what's been redacted and what hasn't. So let me ask you this. Where all have you looked for Maddie?
I haven't looked anywhere. I've stayed. While we were at home, while we were allowed to be at home, I stayed at home just in case she would come back. For somebody to be home while she was back.
Okay.
Well, that might make some sense that somebody should be at home in case Maddie comes back. It's still so strange to so many of us, right? That she didn't look for her own daughter. She never was proactively looking for her. She's like, my family looked for her. They put out flyers. Even she said that Stephan went out to look for her. And when they asked, well, why didn't you go with? She said, because I needed to take my meds and I needed to sleep. Like, oh, man. Yeah, Dr. Berry says, is she crying for herself or Maddie right now? Sounds a little bit like she's crying for herself, right? So it's so sad. I mean, no one's trying to I don't know what, grill Jen Soto for no reason. We all want the truth because the truth is obviously what justice is all about. We want the truth. What happened to Maddie? And is anyone else responsible? Will there be consequences for the obvious neglect that went on? You know what I mean? It's just, man. And now she's just like, what? I don't want to hear it. But what is she talking about as well with this redacted report? I don't know if that was something that was on Reddit, because there was a time people were speculating about Maddie's cause of death, and that was not the correct information. Something was out there. I don't know if the New York Post did refer to that. I don't know. But I think she's just fishing for information, right? Yeah, Kathleen said anyone from her family could have waited at home. It's difficult for a mama bear to not look. Even if you have an animal that goes missing, right? You're looking everywhere frantically. you know? So earlier today, Mr. Grizzly and I were out and about, and he thought he lost our house key, and he was freaking out. He was freaking out, like digging through everything, looking through everything, like stopping everything. And I'm like, whoa, like even the way he's looking for a key is more than Jen Soto ever looked for her only child, her daughter. You know what I mean? Ah, it's just terrible.
And for now, since I haven't been able to go back home, I've been at my sister's house just hiding out. I don't want to be seen in public. I don't want anyone. I already had my own security gate. Like when I drove in there, they recognized me by my name, and when I told them my name and just the response, I wasn't prepared for just everyone to recognize me and know what's happening. This is huge. But I haven't. Back to your question, I haven't gone out looking for her because I don't know where to search, and the only place I thought of where to search would be Chico Creek behind her school because of the whole woods comment, but you guys have been doing that and I didn't want to get in the way of that.
She's like, you guys have been doing that, searching the woods behind the school, so I didn't want to get in the way of that. Good luck trying to keep a mother who truly cares about their daughter and knows that they could be out there alive away from that area. Right? So she's just like, yeah, no. It still reminds me of Trezell and Jacqueline West, the Cal City boys case, where they're like, well, we couldn't search because we were told not to. And maybe they were told to stay in the house, but I'm like, oh, okay, you were told not to search, huh? And here as well, Jenny's kind of just like, no, I didn't want to get in the way. Didn't want to impose. Does that mean that you knew that she was no longer alive and not coming back? Because if you thought that she was alive and coming back home, whatever that means, as she said, wow, wouldn't you be out there? I think any reasonable person would be, right? Keith says, hello from Pompano Beach, Florida. Hello to you, Keith. Okay.
I don't know where this information came from, and I don't know if it's true or not, but you would be the only person to answer this. Does Maddie have any siblings?
Maddie has a half sibling. No, just kidding. She's got a step sibling. I was married once upon a time, and we raised our girls together for about 4 years. That's who she would consider her sister.
Okay. Do you know what is Dad's name?
Stephen Young.
Steven?
Yeah.
Where does he live?
In Colorado, but they actually flew in to be with me. So they're here in town right now.
Okay. Do you happen to have a phone number for him?
Yeah.
And what's the daughter's name?
Ashley.
Just redacting that.
She'll be turning 15 this year, but I will warn you, she is on the spectrum, so I'm not sure how
that's fine. That's Steven's number.
Yeah.
Okay. When were you guys together?
Yesterday?
No, I'm talking about relationship-wise.
Oh. So from 2013 to 2017, we got married in 2015.
And did you guys live in Kissimmee at the time?
We lived in that Kissimmee house for a while. And then for a while we lived separated, where I lived in Kissimmee and he lived in a house in downtown Orlando, and we were just seeing each other back and forth.
Gotcha. This may be a dumb question, but I'm going to answer it anyways. Has Stephan ever been around Stephen or Ashlyn?
Yes.
He has?
Yes.
Where? Like, where would they be?
Where would they have hung out?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say at Stephen's house, when he lived in Williamsburg, by SeaWorld.
Okay.
I remember one instance where we all went trick-or-treating together. But I'm not sure how many times we all hung out as a group. I know he knows him and they've met each other and all that stuff, but I can't recall how many times we've hung out, but we have hung out.
And you said Williamsburg is where? Near where?
SeaWorld.
Oh, okay. How did them two meet? Or how did them two know each other? Stephen and Stephan.
I introduced them.
Okay.
I thought that they would get along well because they both like nerdy games, nerdy board games. And oh, just kidding, yeah, so they would hang out even on their own for a while because they were playing board games. They were playing board games together for a long while. So yeah, they hung out even without me around. Yeah.
You went out.
We haven't listened to, and I don't think we're going to listen to the Stephen Young interview together because I explained why earlier, but I remember we read in documents as well that apparently, so Jen's ex-husband and Stephan used to play board games together, but then they stopped because Stephan had some kind of anger outburst or something while they were playing this game, and then Stephen never wanted to play board games with him again, right? Keith Peterson said that dude is not going to be enjoying his life. He's toast. Yes.
Know Stephen's birthday, do you? And you said he lives in Colorado now?
Yeah.
Is Stephen married?
Yes.
Is his wife with him here with?
Yes.
Oh, gotcha.
When do they move out there?
A year or two ago, not sure exactly how long.
Any idea if Stephen and Stephan has still been communicating?
In the last few days, yes.
I don't think it's in the last few days because he's been in jail.
No, sorry. Before he got arrested.
How do you know that?
Because we were all contacting each other.
How would you contact each other?
I was texting Stephen Young and making phone calls with Stephen Young. But this is
Would you happen to have those messages on your phone?
yes.
Can I see?
Yes. The discussions we were having were like trying to get Stephan a lawyer. Because this is when I thought he was still innocent, but he's not.
I see.
So this interview was before the police video interview with that detective Kevin O'Malley, right? And so she's on her way there to the sheriff's office. And so you're saying, does she know that Maddie is deceased? They've told her multiple times that we strongly believe that she's deceased and that this is now a homicide investigation. But she didn't have confirmation of that yet.
What is tell me about the Williamsburg. Is it like a neighborhood? Is it apartments? Condos?
House, neighborhood
It's a house?
It's a
Almost
just a
like
just a neighborhood like that.
on
Yeah.
Street.
But they're like older homes. They're like 2-bedroom homes where the bedrooms are like. Well, the house is. I don't even know how to describe this house. Ranch houses.
Long, real long.
Yeah.
Yeah, ranch style. Did Stephen and his wife live in that at that time?
Yes.
Yes. They owned it or rented it?
They rented.
They rented. Do you know why they went to Colorado?
I think Stephen was having a hard time finding a job here. Something that he liked, but he ended up, I think, getting an apprenticeship in Colorado with plumbing. He's doing that now.
How did Stephen know all this was going on?
I
You told him that Maddie was missing.
yeah.
And what was his response to that?
Shock.
Yeah.
Everyone's response is shock and disbelief and worry. And he was another father figure to her for a few years. So he was really worried.
You guys, Scape is saying, talking to Stephen about getting Stephan a lawyer? Like, what the actual... And Austin said, why does she think it's somehow her ex-husband's responsibility to get Stephan a lawyer? So weird. That's very odd, right? Very odd.
I know Detective Morris asked it earlier, but I'm kind of curious. Why didn't you go search for her? I know you said that you didn't typically know where to look, but was there any other reasons why you didn't want to go search?
I wanted to be at home to make sure somebody would be home if she came home. I didn't want the house to be alone. And then the last few days, I just feel like, I don't know, the media have been like bombarding us, and since like more news have come to light, it's just, I've been feeling overwhelmed with the attention, and I just need to like preserve my mental health. I just have to stay home and...
Oh my word, it's all about her again. All the time, all the time. It's always about her. She's priority number one. Then it's Stephan, then it's the dog, and then it was Maddie. Is what it sounds like based on what we've heard. That's my opinion, right? I'm saying in my opinion. So she's like, well, there's a lot of attention, okay? And it's just overwhelming. And so I'd stay home, you know, look after her mental health, take her meds, have her sleep. But like, your daughter is missing. And now they've just told you they believe she's deceased and it's a homicide investigation. Now, we've listened to these chronologically. We went from the 28th, the 29th, and then March 1st. We're still busy with March 1st. And then there was obviously there's two things out of sync that we've listened to before. One is the police video interview, which happened on March 1st, 2024 in the afternoon. And then two is the April 18th derivative immunity interview. We've listened to that, right? That would be last. So we've heard her say that before, that she needs a nap, she's taking her meds, but like she's been shown photos already at this point. Photos of her deceased daughter. They believe she was deceased in Stephan's dad's vehicle, right? In the vehicle Stephan was driving. So she's been shown a lot. She's been shown the CSAM photos. And on this day, she's still like, well, I didn't like all the attention that was on us, you know, on this case. Basically, like, I was overwhelmed. I just needed to stay home. Oh, my goodness. You know what? Someone actually emailed me and brought up a really good point. She said that Stephan Sterns was supposed to stay there for the whole week, which would have been from Maddie's birthday party, probably until Jen Soto's birthday. Jen probably thought, yeah, this is going to be great. You can come over. Of course you can come over for Maddie's birthday party. Okay, after that. So to give Maddie birthday gifts, and then also for my birthday. That was interesting. So thank you all for your emails. Like information like that really helps, because I'm like, oh yeah, he was supposed to stay for a week. And on March 2nd was Jen's birthday. We saw her cry about that as well. Barb said, someone said if she lost her meds, she would look. Interesting. That's true, yeah. You mean if she lost her meds, she would look for them? Yeah.
Is that rain? Boy.
I tried to go out a little bit yesterday to like keep my mind off of things. Just to buy like, I don't have a toothbrush, I don't have anything. But the moment we were out in public, I felt so exposed and like I shouldn't be out. I shouldn't be doing any of this. I grabbed what I needed quickly and we left. But I don't want to be out in public right now.
Did you feel like people were watching you?
Not people were watching me, but I just didn't like the night before that. The security guard's reaction to me telling her my name and who I was, and that I was coming into my apartment. That overloaded me so much, seeing someone it's just weird. It's just very heavy to handle other people's emotions when you're dealing with your own. Like, you have to like comfort everyone. When all I want is to be comforted. It's really heavy when the entire family and everyone's breaking down around it.
Okay, we've got 20 minutes left of this audio file. Poor Amor said, why is she calling TV stations and then complaining about the attention? Well, I can only speculate that she probably thought it was going to go a lot better than that, right? People were like, what? I mean, we were all there. We were there from the day Maddie went missing and the flyers were made and the press conference was there and everybody was looking for her, of course, except her mother. She was sitting at home, right? But then she did those media interviews and we were like, whoa, looking at that with a bit of a skeptical eye from day one. Not that we want to. I mean, we always give people the benefit of the doubt. It's like Stephan Sterns cracking his knuckles behind her like that. And the things she was saying, already then it's like, what is going on here? But yeah, maybe she just thought the reaction would be a lot better. And it definitely didn't work out, I think, the way she planned.
Just laying low to preserve my mental health. I'm just worried. In the past, I've been hospitalized for my mental health issues, and I'm just afraid like that this is gonna make me spiral again. So I'm just trying to stay sane.
Trying to keep it together.
Yeah. I don't want to end up back in the hospital again. I don't want to be unstable again.
Well, you got some of your family here, so
Yeah,
got some support.
for sure. Everyone's being so helpful. I didn't realize it. I knew I had family and I knew we had community, but I didn't realize it was as big as this was until everything has happened, and I see how everyone is supporting and loving and helping us with, flyers or searching. Everyone keeps wanting to create like a search group so that we all go searching for her, but I don't want anyone to get in the way of you guys, because I know you guys keep searching different parks, different forests. I don't even know if those are the right places to look anymore, from what you guys have told me and from apparently him driving all around town. For the longest time I thought she could be somewhere close to the school, like if something happened on the way to school, but from what you guys are telling me, it's not the case.
Everyone's ultimate goal is to bring Maddie home.
Yeah.
That's all we want.
I'm just reading all your comments. Kathleen says, everybody except you. I mean, does anyone find what she's saying reasonable? Because I find it so bizarre and so selfish, and like, I don't want my mental health to spiral. But yet her theory at this point is that somebody abducted Maddie. So aren't you worried that she's being abused, essayed, that she's cold, that she's hungry, that she's scared, that her mental health is a mess? You know what I mean? She's so worried about her own mental health. She needs to stay at home, take her meds, and have a meal, and then like go to sleep. I mean, it's just, to me, it signals that she knew that Maddie was no longer alive. Because even when she says there, well, she didn't know the community was like so active and so involved, right? And she said, until after everything happened. And that wording was also interesting. Like, everything happened. At this point, she's still missing. They believe that now, they said this was a homicide investigation and they believed that Maddie was deceased. But at this point, she was actually still missing. They found her remains later on this same day. But like, the thing she says is really, really selfish and so inappropriate given the situation. Because what about Maddie? What about Maddie? That's just the biggest question for Jen. What about Maddie?
I also know you talked about it last night, but I didn't catch it for whatever reason. What was the medication specifically that you guys would use to help sleep?
For who?
For you.
For me? It's my medication called the brand name is called Geodon.
Geodon?
Yeah, it's but the bottle says Zibrazidone. I can't say it right. Zibrazidone.
Prazodone?
Yeah, that's a bipolar medication. It kicks in at night with the food, and then probably takes about an hour, 30 minutes, an hour to work, and then I'm asleep.
Okay. Did you, Mark, can you write that down just so I don't forget it?
What was it again?
Can you tell what the medication was?
The brand name is Geodon.
Geodon. Okay.
Geodon, and then it was... What was the... It started with a Z?
The generic name is what would say on my medication bottles is Zibrazidone.
Zibrazidone, yeah.
Zibrazidone.
And then what was the medication that Maddie would take?
Hydroxyzine.
Okay. And that was used for what purpose? To help her sleep?
To help her sleep or for anxiety. But that's like, I think that's like a version of Benadryl that we would give her. At least that's how her doctor described it. It's like giving her Benadryl at night.
Okay.
Do you know if my family's behind you? Have they been following you?
I know they're coming up here. I don't know if they were following me specifically, but they have the address. I gave them the address.
Yeah,
So you're going to have someone drive your car back to Kissimmee?
I think I've only, I was going to say I've driven twice since all of this has happened, and one of the times was scary because I was ugly crying and I couldn't stop. I was sobbing, and driving like that is not safe at all. I just don't want that to happen again.
Has Stephan reached out to you?
Stephan?
Stephan?
No, I don't know. I haven't seen him or talked to him since you guys took us downtown and separated us. I haven't heard anything.
She's quite chilled about that answer. You know, have you spoken to Stephan? She's like, Stephan? No. Haven't seen him since you guys separated us. Haven't spoken to him. Like, okay. That's also interesting. one would think, I don't know, that maybe she'd like call him or say like, what the hell's going on? Or like, what did they charge you? I don't know. Maybe she couldn't speak to him. I'm just like, oh, she's very chilled about that as well. Dr. Berry said, so maybe she holds in the emotion and doesn't show it around other people if what she's saying is true. Could be that as well. Could be. We've read that quote together. Did he reach out to you? They're asking about Stephan. Did Stephan reach out to you? She says, I don't think so. And if he did, that would be really effing stupid of him to do. Also an interesting comment, right? Very interesting. Okay, so let me also read this one out in case people don't know. For those that don't understand how it works, if the chat speed is anything less than a 5-minute delay, nobody would be able to read it. So please quit moaning. So of course we do have slow mode activated. I know it would suck as well to have that, but there's a lot of, thank you all for being here. Oh my goodness. Thank you for being here and studying this case with me so passionately, advocating for Madeline Soto, the 13-year-old who lost her life after being sexually abused for years. Like her whole childhood was stolen from her. It's, oh man, this case, as someone, Gaynor just said, this case, you'll never forget this case. Me neither. I will never forget this case either. We'll never forget Maddie. It didn't sound like she had anyone in her life really protecting her, fighting for her. It's very sad. So she does now, right? She does now. In her honor, we all want to see justice for Madeline Soto. I think so many of us, we're so devastated by this case. It's so frightening. It's so sad. So yes, I'm going to continue playing this now. Thank you so much, Tony, for your sticker.
You know your number though, probably by heart?
Actually, I'm not sure. I don't know. Screaming in the background going, help me, and hanging up. But that's not Maddie's voice.
I mean, that also really sucks that we see in these cases, you know, that do go so viral. Well, in many cases, the internet has changed a lot, but that people will create a scam, like GoFundMe's, right? Sometimes. Or like Jen saying she's receiving calls. She was receiving calls where people are screaming, help me, kind of pretending to be an abducted girl. I mean, is that what she's saying? It sounds, that's terrible. People do that. In all these cases, there's always somebody coming up with something like that. And that in itself, oh man, that makes me so angry. But either way, if she says she's not even answering her phone, what if Maddie was abducted and the abductor wants to now negotiate with you? You're going to miss the call? You're not going to pick up any calls. You got to pick up the calls. Put them down if it's not for you. You know what I mean? Like, I would pick up the calls. But anyway, she's not looking for Maddie and she's not answering the phone. Those are two interesting factors. If your daughter, your only child, even if she had 10 children, I'm just saying it for effect as well. The only child, this is the only child she has, that she had, Maddie, is missing. Wouldn't you be like, monitor, you'd be like so close to the phone? I mean, initially she said she's at home to answer the phone. Now she's not answering the phone. Oh, man.
I did remember something from our conversation last night, if I could mention it to you guys.
Absolutely.
You guys asked me about kinks.
What?
Like sexual kinks.
Yep.
And something occurred to me last night.
Okay.
He's into, like, I think anal kink. That's something he's asked me a few times, and that's not my thing. I've refused. But I remember he told butts. So, butt stuff.
But you guys never had anal sex.
No.
Did he ever tell you he had anal sex with anybody else?
Not that I can recall.
It's another weird conversation that Jen has just brought up. Like she brought up the Woody Allen situation. Now she's like, oh yeah, something occurred to me last night. Stephan's sexual kinks. Like, whoa. I don't know. It's just like a weird conversation to just have in the car, you know, under these circumstances. I don't know. Let me know what you think. KG Constrictor said exactly she should want to scream at him and say how she's going to scratch his eyes out. She doesn't seem upset because at this point she also already knows that he's been arrested. He was arrested on February 28th and for sexual battery. And then later all those over 60 counts of CSAM-related charges. Each count represents 10 or more images and videos of Maddie. I mean, yeah, she's just like, oh no, I'm not answering his calls. She's very chilled about it.
Also, you asked me in the interview room about his triggers. I think triggers was like the wrong word to use because I couldn't think of triggers, but he does have a temper.
Okay.
He's very irritable and very negative about the world and things. Driving would piss him off. Like, depending on how people were driving around him, he'd get really irritable with that. Me nagging him would make him really irritable. Like, if I asked him to clean the house or help me with something. But, would he lash out and explode with me? No. But I believe he's done that with his parents.
Has he ever done it with Maddie?
Lashed out in front of us like that?
Or to her?
To her? No, I don't think so, no.
Has he ever got irritated or angry with her?
I would say yes, but like typical parenting stuff, like if she didn't clean her room when she was supposed to, like, you know, coming down on her for something like that. Was it like anger out of the blue or anger, like random anger? No. It was always like Maddie wasn't doing what she was supposed to be doing kind of things.
Can you believe the audacity of Stephan Sterns, who his mother described lived pretty much in a pigsty at home because he never cleaned his room, didn't do chores, he's lazy, all of that, shouting at Maddie that she needs to clean her room and do as she's told. And for Jen to say just normal parenting stuff, parenting, Stephan Sterns, this random guy, like parenting. I don't see it. I don't like it. Oh, that's just horrible to think that Maddie was also shouted at by Stephan Sterns for not cleaning her room. Oh my goodness, by her abuser. Okay, let me just go back a few seconds here so you can hear it.
Yes, but like typical parenting stuff, like if she didn't clean her room when she was supposed to, like, you know, coming down on her for something like that. Was it like anger out of the blue or anger, like random anger? No. It was always like Maddie wasn't doing what she was supposed to be doing kind of thing, so we come down on her.
And when you say come down on her, obviously, do you mean discipline?
Yell at her.
Okay.
Yeah, we would never hit her. We were never physical with her.
Okay.
We would just be like, you're supposed to be doing this, you're not doing this, what's going on? Are you spacing out? Are you being lazy? Get on it.
Wow, Mother of the Year. Are you spacing out, huh? Are you being lazy? That's how they would talk to her, she says. But these are the two laziest people I've ever heard of. Maddie's missing and Jen hasn't even looked for her once. Doesn't answer the phone, doesn't look for her, and she's like, yeah, we were just like, she had to do things. Did she have to clean the house or what? What's going on here? And she didn't even have a room, as you guys are all pointing out again, right? She had a makeshift room dividers, not a safe space, not a room with 4 walls and a door that she could close to have her own private space. No. Wow. Okay. Sometimes she mumbles some things in. I've chopped out most of the times when it's just car noise like this, but then here and there she'll mumble something. I'm like, wait, gotta listen very carefully not to chop that out. Okay, so that's why we're waiting for that. We've still got 9 minutes left of this interview. Post-punk mama said a yelling, as Jen said in one interview. And it is interesting now, if you think back to that statement that we looked at earlier, that Stephan's parents made in that recent interview of that he told them that he put her, sent her to bed, and then he went out to blow off some steam. That signals to me that he was angry about something. Tammy said, clean your room, from the man who leaves his dirty boxes in her room. Yes, Yvette says, happy Monday, G and crew. Monday? It is Monday, isn't it? Yes, for me it's just turned Monday as well. Happy Monday to you, Yvette.
What electronics were you referring to when you first asked us
Oh,
about the ones?
my Apple laptop.
Your Apple one?
Yeah. Oh, actually, there's an Apple laptop, but what I really wanted was there was a black old laptop in my closet that has all of Maddie's baby pictures from when she was born up until until I got the Apple. So I want to say like 10 years worth of pictures uploaded into it, and I just wanted to make sure I got those back, just so I had something of Maddie's, because I don't have many pictures printed out. Everything's in digital form.
So she's asking the police if she can get her laptop back because she's got, did she say 10,000? No, she's got lots of pictures of Maddie on there from like when she was born and when she was younger. It just sounds like she absolutely knows that Maddie's no longer alive. I know they've shown her a picture of Maddie in the vehicle and said that they believe that she's deceased. They also said it's a homicide investigation. But most people, and Jane Soto is definitely not most, right? Most people would not want to accept that fact. You would look and look and look and look until there's absolute confirmation that the child that in this case now you're looking for is deceased. But she's like, I just want those pictures back. I just want something of hers. Like, so you know that she's no longer alive before anyone else really knows. I mean, isn't that so scary? Keith said he's been in solitary for 10 months already. He will experience hell on earth in prison with those charges. Can you imagine with those charges? Oh, wow. Sorry, just one more quick pause here. Patty Man said, hi, I always watch, but shy about the chat. Don't be shy. Thank you for coming out and saying hi. And you said, but can someone tell me, didn't Maddie cry and not want to go home on Saturday? Yes, that's what her grandmother said. Jane's mother, she was crying and didn't want to go home on Saturday. And she spent the day with her grandfather. So that's also interesting. If you hear all these different insights, Stephan's mom saying, no, Maddie called Stephan and said, can you come over? Are you coming over tomorrow? And like inviting him over, I still wonder about that because Maddie was telling her friends she was having a meltdown. She needed help. She said many of her friends canceled coming to the party on Sunday, and yeah, she didn't want to go home. So that is also interesting.
I will tell you guys though, with Stephen Young and Stephan, I don't think they've had much contact since they moved to Colorado. They weren't super great friends.
You said they're not super great friends?
No.
Just a little bit ago, you said they
played games and stuff,
hung out
but
together and
yeah, a few years ago. But since they moved to Colorado, like, I don't think they've really talked at all. Hell, I barely spoke to Stephen, honestly.
Stephan's wife.
Deb says, how is it 10 months? Isn't it? Yeah, 7. He's been in solitary confinement apparently since he was arrested. And that was on February 28th. And at the time of this live stream, it's September 22nd. For many of you, I'm already on September 23rd.
So then why would you guys, start contacting Stephen about all of this? And then especially like for a lawyer, you said something about a lawyer.
Yeah, so when everything happened, Stephen Young and I got in contact, and he was letting me know he could be any support, any help. If I needed food, if I needed anything, he would come out and help me.
Okay, so people are confused. Stephen Young is Jen Soto's ex-husband, but not Maddie's biological dad. Maddie's biological dad is Tyler Wallace, okay? So Tyler is her bio dad. Stephen Young is Jen Soto's ex-husband. And Jen was just saying that Stephan and Stephen used to play board games and all of that, but they haven't spoken in years. But yet, Jen is phoning Stephen to ask for advice to get Stephan a lawyer? Isn't that crazy? Oh my goodness. Also, for those who missed it, for the first hour and 20 minutes, I think it was, of this stream, I reacted to, had a presentation about the latest interview with on Hidden True Crime with Stephan Sterns' parents. So if you missed that, because I see people are now coming now and asking me for it, we've done it, we did it, go check it out afterwards. Once we're done, you can check out the replay and see all of that.
In the beginning of all of this, we were all under the impression that I had given Stephan the benefit of the doubt, right? I had assumed he dropped her off, that she went missing, and that he had nothing to do with it. I believed him. He's a master liar and a master manipulator. Me and Stephan's dad have discussed this already. Like, we had a conversation, like, what does he lie to you about? What does he lie to me about in the past about things? And it's stupid stuff, but he's a liar. So I'm realizing he's been lying to me about shit this whole time, and I just haven't had the slightest idea. But before any of this, I assumed he was innocent. I assumed you guys were pursuing him and you guys had the wrong guy, because I'm just like, of course, they're going to go for the last guy who saw her. And I wanted to think the best of him and think, oh, he's innocent, but you guys are just pursuing the wrong person. So, Stephen Young was helping me because he has like family that's got contact with lawyers or something like that. So he was giving me lawyers for Stephan. But then once, at this point I do.
Why do you say that?
Because...
See, there was a lot of redaction there. Okay, so I just skipped there. I cut out that whole silent part. Unicorn Blood Rosa says, I so need to step away from this case, but I can't. I feel like it would be yet again failing Maddie, or I don't know, like I didn't care, like it mattered anyhow. Please don't feel like that. If you feel like it's too much for you, okay, this goes for anyone and everyone, right? If the case or any case that we're covering gets too much, please look after your mental health. If you need to take a step away, remember the replays are always here. You can watch it anytime if you want to come back to it, and we will always save you a seat. But you got to look after it, and I totally understand. I mean, lots of times we're so invested and we go so deep into these cases that it can really become a lot. It doesn't mean that you're failing Maddie. We're all here. We want justice for her, and that's going to take some time, of course, right? Stephan Sterns has been arrested. He's been charged, but he's yet to face a trial for all those charges, for the CSAM charges and the murder. So don't worry. And thank you so much for being here. If you need to step away, then you need to step away. That's okay. Okay, now we've got 5 minutes left. Let's listen to this.
But you guys showed me that picture of her slumped over. She could be asleep or drugged, but if he was driving around and she just disappeared, like that to me feels like he dumped her body somewhere.
Where?
I don't know. I sent you the name of the stores that I remember him mentioning, him saying that he was gonna visit. But I don't know if he ever made it to them. I don't know. I'm assuming he didn't. He fucking lied about that trip too. I don't think he had his phone with him during that time either. I don't think. It's just everything is too coincidental and way so suspicious. Like,
Where do you think he took her?
I have no idea. I wish you guys could, like...
You don't have one idea in your brain that thinks.
Of where she could be. No, I would tell you. I would so fucking tell you. I want my child back. But I have no idea where he could have taken her. I think I asked you guys, like, for a map. Like, if you guys could show me where around town he drove to see if I could recognize anything familiar, any place familiar. But I think you guys said he drove around too much. So I don't know.
Yeah. Gaynor was also like drugged, and I was just typing in chat there. The way she's like, well, the picture that you showed me of Maddie in the vehicle, where they said they believe she's deceased, and they showed her and said she's not sleeping. And she's like, what? Is she dead? Now she's like, well, she could be sleeping or she could be drugged. Wow, the way she said that, just like that, it makes it sound like, was she drugged before? Do you know that she was drugged before? I mean, we've also heard from one of the audio interviews, Jen said that she had to call poison control because she couldn't wake Maddie up. And I'm like, poison control? So she was knocked out before or what? You know? Okay. Thank you. Melissa said, this is why I only watch with UG, too much for me to consume in many other places as well. This one is very tough emotionally. It really is. And you said the self-care is so important. I have to decompress afterwards. Same. It really is. It's very heavy. It's extremely devastating. And it's one of those cases we'll never, ever forget. We'll never forget Maddie. I really hope there will be justice, full justice for her.
I mean, we've told you some areas.
I think you guys mentioned St. Cloud and like 192, but I've never been with him, I don't think, to St. Cloud. We've never done anything in St. Cloud together. I didn't even think he would drive that down there, because everything, for the most part, that he did was in Orlando by the mall or on 182 somewhere.
Which mall?
I think the Florida Mall.
Florida Mall?
Go to the front.
Searching in Kissimmee other than St. Cloud and
We're searching everywhere.
everywhere?
Where did you see those comments?
I think I saw something on like a Facebook moms group. Kissimmee moms. Like we hear helicopters by Kissimmee Lakefront. Do you think they're looking for Madeline Soto? So I just wondered, I'm like, is that for her?
They're everywhere. They're non-stop searching for her.
Alright, we're at the sheriff's office.
I know you guys left me a paper with a list of...
Okay, so that was the end of it. I just skipped back to the beginning. So they're like, oh, okay, we're at the sheriff's office. And then, of course, we've seen the police video interview. Joe says she's so sus. I'm sure her family thinks so. I wonder what her family's thinking, right? Sleuthy Goosey says, is that why you changed your story from seeing her that morning to not seeing her that morning? Isn't it also interesting how she's like, wow, I saw on like a Facebook group that moms were wondering if the helicopters were for Maddie, for Madeline Soto. Is it? Is it? Like she wants to know. It almost sounds like she's curious, like, where are you searching? I don't know. It comes across as almost a little bit fearful rather than, which it is a scary situation. It sounds a little strange how she says, right? Mr. Pinto Peabody said, thank you, G. Nobody's yelling at my kid. Nobody. She allowed that. I'm so grossed out. Yeah. Thank you for your sticker. And thank you so much, Diana Johnson. You said I was a PO for San Diego County from 78 to 89. Worked in a facility that were abused, neglected, and forgotten. I had many cases like this. The news never reported them. I worked with kids 7 to 17 years, but we housed babies and up. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope that highlighting this case, bringing the awareness and the lessons that this case also offers will help save many children, many even adults, right? But many children from sexual abuse, from groomers, predators, and of course, from crossing paths with people like Stephan Sterns, who's now accused of taking Madeline Soto's life. Wow. How do I say that? Noose knows. You said people don't understand the level of manipulation and facade that is constructed by these snakes. They have a target and they do everything they need to be in order to get what they want and keep it hush. Yeah, I understand. Groomers and predators operate exactly like that. It's just really, it's just so difficult to think that, let's say in that scenario, that Stephan manipulated then Jen Soto so much and got her so comfortable and disarmed with no boundaries. Just you sleep, you just focus on yourself. Like, I'll take care of everything else, to the point where she can even say after her daughter's 13th birthday party, which she did not attend, and say, go upstairs. See her for half an hour and then say, okay, go upstairs and go to bed with this ex-boyfriend of mine, this 37-year-old man. I mean, that is just a lot. And then talk about the Woody Allen situation that she says she always told Stephan that she feared that. There's a lot of red flags, and no one's just looking at Jen Soto for no reason. Same as Detective Kevin O'Malley and all those detectives that were grilling her. They sounded upset the way that we're upset. Like, why would you do that? Or why wouldn't you ask that? Or why aren't you looking? Or how can you see these pictures of your daughter being sexually abused? And then one, I would say, call it a sexual relationship. I was like, why is she calling it that? It's sexual abuse, okay? But then also, two, so you then after that wanted to get him an attorney? Oh, man, there's so much, right? So, yeah, while she was given derivative immunity for that one interview on April 18th, which is actually the most recent one, and we have listened to that together already, it's on the playlist, right? That was for that interview. If they find other evidence from other sources, they can still charge her. And they will if they do have the evidence. If they have no evidence, they're not going to charge her, right? But sometimes, as we've seen in many cases, these things take a lot of time. The wheels of justice turn very slowly. And I just hope that if others are responsible for what happened to Maddie, which the detective said, it's under your roof, under your care that your daughter was victimized. That is so sad, right? Joanna said, a question, G, was Maddie at her grandmother's from Wednesday and home Sunday? I would speculate it, although the grandmother said that Maddie was with her over the weekend from Friday. So like Friday after school, it sounded like. And then she didn't want to go home on Saturday. And then she had the birthday party at the grandmother's house on Sunday. So, but Jen said, when asked, when did you last see Maddie? In some of those initial interviews, she said Wednesday, 11 o'clock. And then she's like, oh, no, not Wednesday, Sunday, 11 o'clock. So I still, like, it's still pinned in my mind. I'm like, was that a slip or what? That's interesting, right? Okay, so, yeah, Howdy Girl said, I watched True Crime Video, and he said Bio Dad took Maddie's ashes home with him. Apparently, yes. Yeah, and you guys are like, hello, what room? She didn't have a room. Exactly. So, everyone, that wraps up our Jennifer Soto audio and video. We've seen one police video interview, which was very interesting to be able to finally see with our own eyes the body language, how she responds to things and all of that. We've also seen one video interview of Stephan Sterns, and it also includes the day that he was arrested, of course. We saw him get cuffed. And they said, don't be squirrely, man, because otherwise you will eat carpet, you understand? still one of my favorite moments. I'm like, yeah, you're going to eat carpet, sir. Like, my goodness. So we've seen the 2 video interviews. I don't know if eventually we'll be able to see more. Of course, this case happened in Florida, the Sunshine State laws. So maybe. I'm going to put in the live chat now, put the link to the Court TV segment where I was on there on Friday night. That was great. So I was on there. I was also on there on Thursday night, and that one is on courttv.com. If you go to shows, you go to Vinnie Politan Investigates, you'll see it there. It's the Jen Soto one. Because on Thursday night, we discussed the Jen Soto police interviews, and on Friday night, we discussed Stephan Sterns. So Liz said, been multitasking and following along. One question, how did you get this awesome? I was like, wait, what's this question? How did you get this awesome? You're truly the true crime queen. Thank you so much. Because of you, because of your support, because of you guys giving me a voice as well, to be able to, study these cases with you and not just watch them alone. Now we're a whole community and we're growing. Oh my goodness, we are growing, you guys. There's so many new people here. Welcome, everyone. We're almost at 355,000 Grizzlies. That's so crazy. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't yet, please do that. And I will see you in the next one. Of course, I'm going to keep a very close eye on this case. You guys know I'm very passionate about this case, and I want to see justice for Maddie. Next date that Stephan Sterns will be in court is October 14th. He won't be there. His lawyer will be there on his behalf. Remember that. He's a coward who he hides, just like Adam Montgomery did. Doesn't want to come out. Doesn't want to be seen on camera there. So I will keep you posted on what happens with that, but I'm not going to go and put everybody else that was interviewed on blast. I feel protective of them too, right? Even if the insight is interesting, I'll make bullet points. I'll bring that to you. I'll do my best to make sure that the playlist is in somewhat an order, chronological order. Might even make some separate, like a case file for you, a little video with all the links in that you could at least watch and listen in chronological order. But you should be able to find it from the labels as well. Thank you. Gen X to the 7th power. Thank you so much. Everyone, I will see you again very soon. Please look after your mental health. Stay safe, and I will see you again in the next one. I hope you'll be here with me to study other cases because I'm passionate about everything that I cover. I put my whole heart and soul into it. So, okay, everyone. Bye.
A voice said, "Don't go."